Hey, it's Mirella Manelli and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited because today I'm going to be showing you how to do a customizable money piece as well as some teasy lights to kind of brighten up the overall look, all while still leaving it looking really natural. So this is going to be a combination of keeping the hair looking really soft and natural, but then also making a statement with that money piece, bringing it all the way down. So I'm super excited, but before we continue, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like and turn on all notifications so you don't miss a tutorial. Now let's go ahead and get started. So my model overall wanted a brighter look, but still wants to be brunette. She's really interested in creating a money piece that's not too bold and not too subtle, just something just right for her hair. As you can see, she has a fine hair texture, so I'm going to be using Beyond Bond lightener at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 30 volume developer. I chose this lightener because she does have some previously lightened pieces, and also her hair is pretty fine and it lifts really easily. So I love this lightener because it has dual bond technology, and I know her hair is going to feel super silky soft once we're done with her service. To get started on her sectioning for her money piece, I'm just wanting to see where her hair naturally falls. So this is why you see me combing through her hair and just grabbing and pinching the hair so that way I can see where the natural separation lies. Once you know where that natural separation lies, a natural but bold statement. So this is just gonna definitely give us that. It's gonna look really natural, but yet you're gonna be able to see it. And I'm telling you, if you just grab and pinch, it just almost separates that front fringe area. So you can see here, I have separated right down the middle and then all the way down to right on top of the ear. So it's about an inch to 1.5 inches wide right onto the sides. So now what you see here is I'm assessing how I'm going to put in those foils. So I've determined her head shape is a little bit rounded, so I have a little bit more working space to get in these foils. So I decided I'm going to split this right in half and go in slightly diagonal, plus she has a slight widow's peak, and this is going to be the best type of placement for her hairline. So I'm just taking out those little baby hairs by brushing the hair all the way up and then bringing my weaved section towards me. And now I've isolated those highlights, so I can go in and quickly put in these highlights really easily. So as you can see here, she has some previously lightened pieces, which is exactly why I chose this lightener, because sometimes there is a little bit of overlap. So that's why I love the Beyond Bond. But you do want to try your best to isolate out those blonde pieces, and you're just going to push them aside and let them hang out of the foil. Once I get those two side foils in, I'm just going to go right horizontally behind them and start to marry those two sections together. So I'm still taking these baby lights right at the root. They're back to back. There's no hair in between these foils. So just keep that in mind. When I say back to back, it means that there's no hair in between. Now you'll notice that I am pulling the lightener down on some pieces a little further down than others, and that's because I've just recognized that there's a little bit of orangey pigment left over from the previous color that she had. So another reason why I love Beyond Bond, because when it does overlap, I'm not worried about breakage or further damaging the hair. So now just to break down this entire section for you, I have 2 on each side of her hairline just to kind of get it started. I then married those sections together, doing 2 back-to-back baby lights, taking the highlight all the way to the root. And now on this third one here, you can see I just stroked the product up. So not so much taking it all the way to the root, but just softening that line up just a little bit. And then for this very last piece, so the reason why I do the teasy light is to create even more rooted effect versus the foil that was right behind it where I stroked the product right on up. So it's just a nice transition. I love transitions for money pieces. I think they look really natural. Now once I get the top section completed, I'm going to move on to the sides. So this is a pretty small section, but again, I'm going to do those back-to-back baby lights and by brushing the hair back and then weaving the hair towards me and taking the lightener all the way to the root. I typically like turning my brush sideways and moving that lightener right on up because it just gives me a softer line of demarcation. And there's only going to be about 2 foils here on this side. So again, it's pretty thin, but if you wanted to create something extra bold, feel free to make this section even a little wider for yourself. Once I'm done with the side sections, I'm then going to move on to the back. Now keep in mind she does have some fine hair, so I decided to go in with a zigzag parting from the apex and just bring it down. Now this is where I was discussing with her about whether or not to bring those Teasylights all the way underneath, but I told her that if she wanted them to really stand out and create that depth underneath, it would be essential to leave this hair out, and you'll see when we're completely done what that did to her final look. So I decided to just take a horizontal section right onto her parietal ridge, so basically where the hair starts to curve, and then take a small micro zigzag section underneath that section and then tease it. So I'm just kind of lightly teasing it. You do want to pack it in, but not overly for this hair type, but just enough, and that way it's out of your way when you get ready to paint on your product. So I'm just getting that foil nice and snug in there, and now I'm going to apply my lightener just about 4 to 5 inches away from the diffused line that I want to create, and then stroking the product up. And you just want to do a nice flick of the wrist. And for her ends, because she does have some lightened pieces there, I'm just doing some surface hair painting onto the section of hair, and then I'm going to flat wrap this section, meaning laying another foil right on top. So I'm going to continue on with this application, just taking inch wide sections and continue to apply those Teasylights. Now, one thing to note is that I'm only going to put in about 7 to 8 foils total in this entire section, and then you'll also see I put one in the back. I decided to add in one more later. And the reason for this is because the more of these highlights that you put in, the overall blonding that you're going to get. Now, I want there to maintain that depth and dimension. So in order for me to achieve that and make these highlights pop, I'm leaving that brunette sectioning underneath. So it's really, really important. When you see her final result, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I let this process for about 45 minutes and just kept an eye on it. And then now I'm going to get ready to do her final glaze. But first I'm going to take her to the bowl, shampoo her out, and then also detangle her really, really well before we get ready to do her final toner. For the final formula, I decided to go in with Demi-Permanent, and I used 3 different formulas. So this is something I didn't film, and I apologize, I didn't have my assistant this day, so I had to do everything myself, and I'm totally bummed that I didn't get to film that portion. But for the formula, I decided to use 7NA at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 9 volume developer for her root tap on the money piece only. So this is what I put in first, right onto her root area. And then for the back section where I added in those Teasylights, we wanted something really natural looking. So I decided to go in with 7N at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 9 volume developer. So keep in mind, she wanted this to still look natural. She wanted those soft highlights that were still slightly visible, and also to blend in with her natural hair color. So just adding that nice dimension going on. And then for the rest of the money piece, I blended that 7NA into Beige Rapid Toner and VP Rapid Toner about 10 minutes after her root shadow had been on and the back 7N section had been on. So just keep in mind those rapid toners work really, really quickly. So you're gonna wanna work pretty fast. They literally work in about 3 to 5 minutes. So when you think that your toner is almost done or your root shadow is almost done, then you're gonna wanna go in with that rapid toner formula. And here's the final result of my money piece with a little bit of Teasylights for that natural but bold statement. Super beautiful. I'm really happy and pleased with it, and my client really likes it as well. And just to give you a little recap, I went in with blue powder lightener at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 30 volume developer, and then for her glaze I used 3 different formulas. So did a little bit of a shadow root or root tap right onto the money piece with 7NA in demi permanent, and for the back section I used all 7N to help blend in with her natural hair color. And then for the rest of the money piece I went in with beige rapid toner with a little bit of VP rapid toner, 1:2 mixing ratio with 9 volume developer, and I processed her hair for about 5 minutes, and I'm absolutely just love that money piece in the front. I'm just like seriously obsessed with it. I think it looks beautiful. I really hope you enjoyed this hair tutorial, and if you did, give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. You can also find me on my website at MirellaManelli.com, and you can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at Mirella Manelli, and I hope to see you next time.